It may sound obvious that every business needs to have a focus on cybersecurity, but even if they do, many organizations are missing a key foundation. They don't have a strategy for privileged access security, or PAS. Let's look at why PAS is so important. PAS has three key elements. Firstly, your organization has an ever-growing and ever more complex IT estate. Devices, services and databases are on-premise, in the cloud, and even off-site at the homes of remote workers. Meanwhile, attackers are getting smarter, employees demand better service, and the business needs to work with more partners and vendors. It's critical to protect admin credentials on those shared IT services and devices. If you don't, you can't be sure of protection by any of your cybersecurity or operational infrastructure. The solution is Privileged Access Management, also known as PAM. PAM secures the admin credentials and manages credential lifecycles. Modern PAM also makes it easier for the admins to connect to the devices and services they need. It's the foundation for session management and recording, analytics, and rich audit trails for governance and compliance. Secondly, you must control administrator rights on endpoints. In the past, it was okay to let users have local admin rights, but that introduces huge risks and attack opportunities, even more so with so many people now working remotely. The answer is Privileged Endpoint Management, or PEM, to remove local admin accounts, but do it in a way that doesn't impact users or the help desk. Finally, you must protect what people are doing when using those privileged accounts. Overworked admins need help to reduce their backlog, improve security, and let them deliver better service. Ideally, they would delegate routine tasks to help desk engineers or to users. The answer is automation, but automation that protects privileged credentials, enforces policies, and maintains rich audit trails. That's Privileged Process Automation, or PPA. PPA is a flexible framework to automate cross-system processes, to let them be safely delegated to the help desk, to business users, or integrated with your internal systems. That's Privileged Access Security, the combination of modern Privileged Access Management, Privileged Endpoint Management, and Privileged Process Automation. Osirium PAS is a solution that's easy to manage, improves user service, and protects your IT environment. For more information about Privileged Access Security, please visit osirium.com.
Your IT organization is responsible for operating hundreds or thousands of critical systems. They could be databases, ERP systems, or network devices like routers. Many of those services and devices may actually be out across the organization and not in IT, for example, marketing databases or finance systems. Every one of those systems and devices will have multiple administrator or other privileged accounts. These are accounts that have extra powers, such as create user, or have access to confidential information. They're powerful, so it's no wonder they're the target for malicious attacks, disgruntled employees, or could be misused by staff that aren't trained to use them safely. It's not just admins that need to use these accounts. There are special users that need access, such as auditors or third parties like partners and contractors. Given the complexity, most organizations don't know what privileged accounts they have, who has access to what, or how to control that access. It's no wonder shortcuts are taken. For example, account usernames and passwords get shared. Passwords aren't updated often enough, and auditors can't prove how secure business systems are. But this security should be a top priority. If you don't have control of admin accounts, then any other security tools are unsafe because you can't control how they're managed. The solution is known as Privileged Access Management, or PAM. Traditionally, PAM tools have been hard to implement and impacted on end-user productivity. But Osirium's PXM platform, a new generation of PAM, solves these problems. It's built to be easy to deploy and manage and have minimal infrastructure requirements. PAM sits between users and those valuable systems, so they never have direct access, and the organization has a command and control point. It starts by the user identifying themselves to PAM, which then provides access to only the devices or services they are entitled to use. PAM injects the admin login credentials so they're never exposed to the user or on the network. With this control in place, PAM becomes the foundation for advanced capabilities such as analytics, session recording, task automation, and rich audit trails are provided to satisfy auditor and governance needs. Osirium PAM is the solution for managing privileged access across your business. You can find out more about how PAM can make your business safer and ready to move faster by visiting osirium.com.
It's no surprise to hear that every systems administrator in your IT organisation is busy. And they're getting busier. There's a never-ending flow of requests from across the business, filling every administrator's inbox. It's no wonder that it's hard to keep up or retain the most skilled members of the team. A lot of this work is relatively straightforward and largely repetitive, such as resetting an account password. It doesn't mean the jobs aren't important, just not particularly interesting or high value to the business. Some might be time critical and complex and may need to apply to multiple systems. Just the sort of job that's important to get right and very expensive if a mistake happens. Somewhere in the pile there will also be business critical changes. IT would prefer to focus on these tasks if only they had the time. Take a typical task like provisioning the accounts needed by a new hire. A request will be raised with a help desk, which then sends a work item to each systems administrator. If they're in a rush, bad habits like sharing credentials might happen. It's no wonder we hear of people waiting weeks or even months to be productive. And valuable administrators could have been doing more strategic work. There must be a better way, and Privileged Process Automation, or PPA, from Osirium is the solution. With PPA, the help desk engineer can start the account provisioning process. PPA creates the necessary accounts, while the engineer validates results and makes selections or decisions as needed. At no time are any admin credentials exposed, and the engineer can only perform the operation they've been delegated. Once the process is completed, PPA updates the help desk system for a complete audit trail. That was just one scenario. PPA is highly flexible, so can be used to automate security and network operations, server health checks, gather data for financial systems, and much, much more. With PPA, IT administrators can delegate tasks to focus on the most valuable jobs. End users are happier because their requests get closed quicker and they can even execute them themselves. With more automation and less manual work, the backlog is cleared faster and the chances for error are removed. Overall, administrators, service desk agents and end users are happier and the business is safer and moves faster. If you'd like to know more, please get in touch. Every IT leader has a responsibility to keep their organisation safe and its employees productive, but they're often having to make choices between enforcing more security or making life easier for users. A major challenge for most IT teams is preventing users from installing or running untrusted applications. They do this by ensuring users don't have administrator privileges. That's good for security, but a very poor experience for users. Here, a user needs to run an application as an administrator, so they use the right-click or context menu, and then select the Run as Administrator option. Windows presents its User Access Control window, which requires credentials that have administrator privileges, which the user doesn't have, so they call the IT help desk. To avoid these calls, IT often create a local admin account on the user's machine. That's good news for the user, as they can get on with their work without waiting for IT. The bad news is that this has just opened significant security risks. Now, IT don't know what apps are being installed or run as administrator. Potentially infected applications could expose the whole organization to attack. There must be a better way to empower end users while keeping oversight and control. And now there is, with Osirium's Privileged Endpoint Management, known as PEM. For the user, things are pretty much as they were before. Now they pick Run as Administrator using PEM. When the UAC prompt appears, they provide their normal user account credentials. If this is an app that's been reviewed and approved, they carry on working as normal. If it's a new app, they can ask IT to add it to a policy, and then continue working. They don't have to call IT the next time they want to run the app. PEM then elevates the privilege of just the required application. Let's switch to the IT admin view. PEM had been running for a few days or weeks, keeping track of which applications were being used. The applications were reviewed and policies created to permit use of these specific versions. That meant that when PEM was switched from learning mode to enforcement, all the user's favourite apps were already set up without having to call the help desk. It is possible to keep control over which applications are being run as administrator without creating local admin accounts or increased load on the help desk. If you'd like to learn more, please visit osirium.com.